Die-hard car enthusiasts, we're a weird bunch. How do I explain this? If you were to give me the choice between a 600 horsepower convertible sports car or a 600 horsepower station wagon, I would take the station wagon, and Mercedes knows that better than anybody, which is why, for a very die-hard breed of enthusiasts like me, they let the AMG department go mad with the E-Class wagon. This is the 2021 E63 wagon. It's part of a completely facelifted E-Class lineup for 2021 that also includes a sedan, coupe, and convertible, but the station wagon is by far my favorite, and in this video, I'm going to show you why. Now that the wagon explanation is out of the way, we gotta start with the color. It's crazy, right? It's called Brilliant Blue Magno. This is not a wrap, this is a matte paint finish. I've never seen anything like this on a station wagon before, or any Mercedes, really. It's very cool. Now, owning matte paint is a little bit complicated. There are some things that go along with that that make it tricky to upkeep, but people will stop and stare at you in this car. They've never seen a wagon like this before. Now, we have a facelifted front end. All E-Classes for the 2021 model year are facelifted. That includes the regular sedan, the coupe, the convertible, and the wagons, that being this E63 model. The only other way to get a wagon in America now is the E450, which is a regular wagon. It's lifted a little bit to compete with the Audi A6 all-road, so it's kind of like a Subaru Outback style. We've got a different shape headlight than last year's model, and the AMG models now have the Panamericana grille. All AMG models get that now, pretty much. We've got the carbon fiber splitter down there. We've got some optional carbon fiber here on this model. Now over here, we've got some optional 20-inch wheels. They've redesigned it a little bit. They have the faux center caps there. Now the design is a little bit different. I like them a little better in silver than black, like you see here. Behind them, we have these gold brake calipers that lets us know we have the carbon ceramics, 15.7-inch rotors behind them, 6 pistons. Really stops this car well, but those cost $9 grand. That's quite expensive. On the side, to let us know we have an AMG, it says bi-turbo 4MATIC with a piece of carbon fiber right there. That's how you're going to know that this is something special and not just an ordinary wagon. Now back here, I love the way these wagons look with this chrome piece, although there's not really much other chrome on the car, so I would maybe black this out if I was going to buy this car, because there's a lot of black carbon fiber. We've got the black quad exhaust tips with some carbon fiber surrounding it on the top. Now these are not the actual tips. They keep them behind for crash reasons so that when you get rear-ended you don't have to replace the entire exhaust. That's why automakers do that, fun fact. But these exhaust pipes sound absolutely incredible. Just wait until you hear this thing out on the road. All right, so time to hop inside of the E63 wagon, where I think if you weren't impressed by the wagon proportions on the outside, you are going to be blown away by the interior. Mercedes knows how to do a cabin beautifully. We've got carbon fiber all over the dash here. We have this really unique black and gray scheme with yellow piping. I'm not really sure how well the yellow piping and yellow stitching goes with the blue exterior, but I'll leave that to you whether or not you like it or not. We've got a very new steering wheel here on all 2021 E-Classes, but the AMG 63 gets its very own specific steering wheel. And I gotta say, I do kind of prefer the old one better, with sort of the metal face versus this black gloss. There's a lot going on here, but they have actually improved the functionality of this. So you have these little touch pads around here. This one controls the gauge cluster here, so you can control all different aspects of this. So you can have this side be different things. You can even have this be like a little map gauge cluster, which is really cool. I really like the functionality of that. Or you can have this all be a map. You can even change the style of this as well. So if I go into designs, we can have the Super Sport, which you only get on the AMG models. You can see that changes to this very futuristic style right there. This one over here controls the main touchscreen. These are dual 12.3-inch displays. So this one controls the main screen over here. We have our AMG Performance tab. That's new on AMGs. We have the track pace. This you can use to time your drag races, 0 to 60, telemetry, all of that stuff. We'll play around with that a little bit more out on the road. This is also a touch screen, so very easy to use. You can set up different themes down here, so trip, lounge, standard, experience, and you can customize those however you want them. So if you like your gauges set up a different way and your drive modes and everything, you can pretty pretty much configure the entire car and then set it to one of those themes, which is quite cool. You also have the touchpad down here. So the outgoing E-Class did not yet have MBUX, which is the Mercedes-Benz user experience. Now it does have that. So you can control this on a touchpad as well, or using voice commands by saying, "Hey Mercedes," or by hitting the voice command button. Now we have physical controls around here for volume, which is nice. You can switch the drive modes down here as well. You can customize everything individually if you want. Traction control, transmission, exhaust, loud or quiet, suspension. I think it's much cooler to play with these drive mode selectors here on the steering wheel. These are awesome. You have one that just controls your overall drive mode. So you have comfort, sport, sport plus, race, click for individual, turn to the left for snow as well. So this is really fun to play with. And if you don't want everything to be super aggressive, so what I could do here is I could put it into sport plus mode, and then I have individual controllers here, and you can change what these do. So here's my suspension. So I can cycle through just my suspension modes here over on this side. These are really cool. I could put the car into manual mode using these new paddle shifters on this new steering wheel. They're actually shaped like little E's, you know, for E-Class. I think that's pretty cool. Although they do feel a little bit more plasticky than the really nice metal ones you got on the last Mercedes E63. But I will say pretty much everything in this cabin feels beautiful, nicely knurled. Everything is metal. All of the buttons are metal and knurled. That is really nice. We've got very comfy seats here. We don't have the massage function, but you can get it optionally. We do at least have heating and ventilation here. Burmester audio. We've got the optional driver assist package. So it does adaptive cruise control, steering assist, all of that extremely well. It's one of the best in the segment for that. We've got the acoustic glass, which is extra. I love the technology here on the MBUX system. The navigation looks really crisp. You can get augmented reality. It'll kind of give you navigation prompts in real time. It looks very cool. Basically, they've upgraded this cabin with all of their latest and greatest technology, but it's not so crazy like the new S-Class and the upcoming C-Class where it's going to be all touchscreen. So this is a really nice counterbalance between having buttons and also having touchscreens as well. Now here in the back seat, this is a family car, so you want to have a lot of room back here. We've got 38.5 inches of legroom back here, which is fine for me. It's not that much. The Audi RS6, this car's key rival, has just a little bit more, but this is the same amount you'll get in the sedan, and I do have plenty of headroom back here, even with this awesome glass roof here. Now the one thing I will note about this back seat is the seats don't recline very far back, and we do have air vents back here, but no USBs for which the kids can charge up their devices. That's a little bit disappointing back here. The thing that we do have that's pretty cool back here is you may have noticed this cargo net. That's to separate a dog from the back, so you can put your pup back there. They can roam around and not have to worry about them jumping into the front seat or getting slung through the windshield when you get in a car accident. So now we get to the real reason why you buy an E63 wagon over the sedan, and that is cargo space. It's massive back here. 35 cubic feet of space. You see how cool this awesome cargo cover is that lifts up with the lift gate. That's awesome. How big is 35 cubic feet? Well, the sedan version of this car only has 13.1 cubic feet, and the RS6 Audi, which is this car's main competitor, only has 30 cubic feet. And if you need more than that, we have these electric handles right here. You just pull this button, that'll lower one side, that one lowers the other. Now you have 64 cubic feet of space back there. That is an absolutely massive amount of space. Now that's great for larger objects, but what if you have something smaller? You do have the cargo net over there, but Mercedes actually gives you this little crate. You just kind of pull it and stack it out. Now you can put smaller items right in here. Before we get it out on the road, we've got to talk about the engine under the hood. This is why you buy an AMG Mercedes. This one's got a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine. All of the real AMG models are handcrafted. It's one man to one engine, so only one person in Germany assembled this engine. Produces 603 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque. It's an absolute monster. We do not have the 48-volt mild hybrid like you get on some of the SUVs, but we do have the hot V turbo design, so the turbochargers are right here mounted inside the V of the engine for better response. Just wait until you see this out on the road. Basically, remember that scene from Fast and Furious where the guy pulls up in the Ferrari and you smoke him in a Supra? Now you're going to be doing that in a station wagon. All right, so now it's time to get behind the wheel of the E63 Wagon, and I'm gonna start off with a launch. We've already gone over how much power this massive V8 engine puts out, so let's see if we can match Mercedes' 3.3 second 0 to 60 time. Launch start is really easy. Foot on the brake, foot on the gas, let's hit it. Oh my goodness. Whoa! Oh. All right, let's go ahead and check the timer there. That was 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.3 seconds. We matched the AMG time of 3.3 seconds. That is quicker than the Audi RS6 Avant. As I said, this 4-liter is more powerful than Audi's 4-liter, and the way this 4MATIC all-wheel drive system puts that power down is absolutely incredible. It pins you back in your seat. Your whole family is going to absolutely love the acceleration of this car. And if you live somewhere like Germany where you have an unrestricted Autobahn, your family is going to love the 180 mile an hour top speed. They might not love the 16 mpg in the city and 23 mpg on the highway though. This engine will shut down to 4 cylinders to save fuel, but yeah, you're probably not going to want to save fuel the way that you drive this car. I love this car in its race mode. It is so aggressive. The steering is really precise. It feels very heavy, almost like what BMW M used to do. AMG did not used to be known for their very direct steering, but I think they've gotten to a point where I just really enjoy their steering racks here. I have great control over the car. This is so different than the Audi RS7 Sportback I just drove a week ago. That had very light steering, even if it's in its softest setting. This, in its heaviest setting, is super heavy, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the car out of race mode now, because I don't think too many people are gonna be using that all the time unless you're sort of crazy, because in 2021, for this facelifted model, Mercedes has retuned all of the E-classes, the E63 included, to be a little bit more comfortable and more compliant. Because one of the main issues that I had when I drove the sedan back in 2019 was that it was a little bit stiff for a big executive saloon like this. And has that retuned air suspension and retuned adaptive dampers helped? I'm gonna have to go ahead and say no. I just drove the Audi RS7, which is super compliant despite having very similar performance as this car. Much more compliant, much quieter, much less road noise than you're gonna get from the E63. This is a different type of car. It's still relatively comfortable. We're on some really harsh roads, so you can definitely hear the road noise and tire noise coming through. But it is still a luxury experience. You can get massage seats and all of that. We have the special acoustic infrared repellent glass, which is super cool, and it does help cocoon you in a little bit of luxury, but this is not what I would call a super luxury experience. If you want something a little more comfortable for your family, I did feel like the suspension in the GLE 63 and GLS 63 SUVs were a little bit more compliant than this. So although I prefer wagons personally, and I think that this drives so much better than the AMG SUVs like the GLE and GLS, family comfort, I still think the AMG SUVs are a little bit more comfortable. But in terms of fun, we've got 6-piston carbon ceramic brakes with 15.8-inch rotors up front. They really bring this car to a screeching halt. And here's something you can't get on those Mercedes SUVs: drift mode. It's a little bit complicated to activate. You put it in race mode, you hold the traction control button, that'll defeat stability control, you put it in manual mode on the transmission, you put your foot on the brake, hold both paddles, then pull up to confirm. That will put you in drift mode. Basically what that's going to do is lock this car, all 603 horsepower, into rear wheel drive. You can do smoky burnouts, drifts, all of that in your station wagon, which is absolutely crazy. So I love the fact that you have all-wheel drive, lets you hit out of the hole. This V8 engine is fantastic, but it quiets right down when you put it in comfort mode. This wagon really does do everything. There's nothing it can't do, but I do wish Mercedes would have gone a little further towards making it softer. So that was the 2021 Mercedes E63 Wagon. Pricing starts at a little over $112,000. This one you see here as optioned is $141,000, and you can still go upwards from there. And at this point you might be wondering, what kind of crazy person would spend $140,000 on a station wagon? And if you're thinking that, then you should probably go and get yourself a GLS 63 or a Range Rover or a Lamborghini RS. The wagons are for a very specific breed of individual, just like myself, and there are really only two options. You can have this Mercedes or you can have the Audi RS6 Avant. Now, I haven't driven the RS6, but I did just hop out of an RS7, which is pretty much the same mechanically. It is more comfortable than the E63, but this is definitely more hard-edged, more track focused, and a little bit more fun with its crazy drift mode. So if you want the ultimate performance in a station wagon, you're gonna want this, not the RS6.